Norway is one of those most socialist country in Europe, and as you can see in this video, you're gonna see how well they're doing with their socialist system and how the population really is doing there. And in this part of the video, I'm gonna look at the data about population, and in the next video, it's gonna coming up in a few hours, we're gonna look exactly how the Norwegian people live. You're gonna look at the map with Google Earth, and gonna go with a street view, and gonna see how exactly actually people live there, and we're gonna choose spot randomly on the map. You're not gonna just go in the big cities on a good area or in a bad area. You're gonna just go randomly see how exactly life is in Norway. But for this video right now, we're gonna talk about that data, how they doing there, how it used to be in the past, and what I think is gonna go in the future with them. And for that, so now you're gonna go with this side, and now you're gonna see the Norway population. Currently it's 5.6 million people, and you can see it's pretty much on the incline trajectory, but the growing rate is pretty much all over the place, with sometimes have extreme growth rate, and then it just pretty much collapses. You're gonna see how they're gonna do in the future. But now let's go back to the 1955 and see. Back in 1955 there used to be 3.4 million people, and the growing rate in percentage was around 1%, and the yearly change was 32,000 people, and used to have some small migration at around 1,000 people. So that's a good number, I would say, especially for such a low population. The median age even back then in 1955 was 32 years old, so I would say pretty old for a world standard, but for a European one it's pretty much a normal rise right now. And the fertility rate was 2.76, which is a good fertility rate if you want to replace the population in the future with the native one, because like I said, the migrants are still on low, and those number of migrants are in this 1955, so per year. It's not just 1 year and that's it, just every single year. And especially for this year, you're gonna have around 1,500 new migrants. Urban population is around 50%. So again, you have to look at the map. Norway is pretty much a mountain country, and having that low population, it means that 1.8, let's say, million people living in a urban area, and the rest of them 1.8 living in a countryside, which is not a bad place to be, because Norway is pretty much a very nice country. You're gonna see it in a few hours in the next video. Now on a global rank they are around 86, 90, so pretty low, I would say, for a country that it is a massive one compared with other countries in Europe. But again, you're gonna see the climate kind of is gonna influence that also. Now fast forward to 2025, population grew. Now it's around 5.6 million people, and they still have a growing rate of almost 1%. But again, now you're gonna see 46,000 people coming in the world, but a lot of them they change because now they have migrants, and now 30,000 people are gonna say are from migrant background, and from the native one it's much less than used to be in the 1955. The median age also grew. Now it's around 40 years old, the average person in Norway, and the fertility rate collapses at 1.42, which is below replacement, way below replacement. And urbanization got also up around 85% of the population. Global rank 119, so already got out from the top 100. Now as you can see here, the year that the Norway got under fertility rate replacement, it's around 1975. You're gonna see here. And the migration, mass migration for a country like that, it's a noticeable migration, I would say. From 2005, you're gonna see they got up and up with migrants. But you're gonna see now in the future, because that, according to this data, is gonna change. But also, like I said, those data that you see on this side, they are, let's say, okay to just show you how I think it's gonna play in the future. But as every data, as every video you're gonna find on YouTube, they're not exactly very accurate. I highly doubt that even the government in any single country of those has accurate data on exactly how many people are and which places, let's say, they came from. So you can see even if you don't agree exactly with those data, because you're gonna have some on the government side, you're gonna see a different one. Then you're gonna look at the United Nation, then you're gonna find another data, and so on, so on. You're gonna see discrepancy between them, and you're not gonna know which one to believe. The best case scenario is to just take them all and make an average. And especially if you're living in Norway, the best data that I can say is just go outside and just see how things going. Also look at how many kids your grandparents have, how many kids your parents have, and how many kids do you have, and you're gonna see some movement in this sense. You're gonna go with a much accurate data, I would say. But this one is gonna pretty much do the job. Now in 2050, in the future, we're gonna have 5.8 million people. So in 25 years from now, you're gonna see not that much change, but the early change you're gonna see is going down, and from, let's say, 46,000 people, with 30 of them being migrants, you're gonna see around 2,000 people yearly change. So again, even those data, I don't think they are very accurate. Probably you're gonna see some declining population in Norway around the year 2040, but we're gonna see that probably they're gonna update the data with time. Also, migrants, according to this side, they say it's gonna remain normal at 12,000 people from 2030. Now, it depends on the policy, obviously. That's a speculation. Depends in which direction they go. You can have this number much higher or lower. But according to, you can see those data, they go from ups and downs all the time. So it's kind of hard to have exactly a number. But median age is gonna go from today 40 years old to 45. So already 5 years in the next 25 years. It is something. It's not unnegligible. Fertility rate, they say, is going to grow a bit, but 1.5, it's pretty much, again, same as 1.42. And even those numbers, like I said, it could be much lower than that, but are still below replacement rate. And the global rank is going to stay at 122, which even that, I think, is going to have some shifting. Now, with the life expectancy of the average Norwegian person from the both sexes, it's around 84 years old, female 85, and males 82. So we're gonna see not that much differences between female and males, which is always just shows a bit of equality there, even if the works page, I would say, because this means like they are a society with high development, and probably the male jobs that we used to have in the past that usually take a toll on the life expectancy of the male. Now they kind of they level up that with the woman, which usually they take those jobs that are much, let's say, less labor intensive, manual labor. So infant mortality 1.8 and death under age of 5 2.1. That is really good. Everything under 3 is very good, and that shows a medical system for the Norway, which very, very well put together. Now in the city area, 580,000 people with Oslo city. It means Norwegian, even with despite those population 5.6 million people, and I think most of the population is around in the south of the country, in a not say small area, but in a I would say not small, but again not that extended. Well, also you're gonna see not even one city hit 1 million people, so they barely hit 500,000. That means they have small cities around the southern area, and they're well spread, which is not a bad thing. Now, for the future of the Norway, depends exactly on which direction they go. From now, I think they have they are not in the European Union because they keep they want to keep from themselves those oil reserves, but once they, from what I understand, by 2030 the oil demand is gonna hit all-time high, and then it's gonna decline, and that is gonna mean that they might be willing to join the European Union. It depends how European Union goes in the future. Those number of the migrants, it might increase also. So there's just a few things I want to say out there, because those huge changes can become, and all those data, it could be, let's say, unreliable. But assuming that Norway is gonna go on the same path as now, they're gonna see population decline also as every single other countries, and depending on these migration numbers, you're gonna see where. But I have a feeling that by 2040 you're gonna see Norwegian population going on minus, and they're gonna see how they doing from there. With the social system that pretty much found everything, and you still cannot have a great fertility rate. That just shows, my opinion, a bad system, and I never like and never trust a social system no matter what. It just feels like those people who work, they get extremely high taxes, and the wealth, it's redistributed to those people who just living on the welfare. That's how a socialist system work, and any country who has that, they never last too much around. So we're gonna see how Norway is gonna look in the future. But yeah, wait for the video that I'm gonna go in every single randomly parts of the country and see exactly how they live. And also I want to check this area here, this type of the island of, I think it's called Svalbard, and they are technically on Norwegian territory, but you're gonna see there are more Russian there than Norwegian people, so you're gonna look at that either. But for now, just if you live in Norway and you have something to add, just comment down below in the comment section.